Hello, my name is Paula O'Brien and I'm a psychic medium. I thought it would be amazing to have some of my work filmed so I can share it with you. After doing so many shows and hearing how much everyone likes to see and hear the messages for everyone else, I thought it would be lovely to have some of the more intimate messages filmed so that we could share it with you. They're much more in depth and I think you'll enjoy watching them. Snuggle down, make a cup of tea and let's begin. I know nothing of you, I haven't met you before obviously. I am just going to come out with what I have to say, okay? Okay. Throughout the whole of the other readings that I have done today, there has been somebody with me. I know full well that he has not been for them. I have mentioned him twice in previous readings, just in case. And I've mentioned the name, and no, it didn't really seem to settle in or make sense. And I wasn't sure where I was going with this until you just walked in the room. Okay. And your dad has just come through. Okay. And I'm really hoping his name's John.
Yes.
He's been here all day. He's been so excited. This isn't his thing.
No.
At all.
Nope.
I think he probably was one of the most sceptical people I've had. He wasn't like a massive believer. Not that he disbelieved, but he could take it or leave it.
Yeah. Until
today. And I was upstairs just putting the lippy on like you do. And he said to me, "It's time, come on." I came downstairs, been here 2 seconds, I saw you stood outside. And he told me that you were here already. And I said to Kev, "She's here." And he got so excited. So I was then thinking, that makes sense as to why the other people didn't know him. I just think he got like a bit early with himself and on schedule and being on time, so he's sitting there. Who's just got married? Or is there a marriage or a wedding? I need to acknowledge a wedding or a marriage or an announcement of a marriage or a wedding. Or an anniversary.
An anniversary soon.
Yes.
It will be my dad.
The anniversary of his passing?
No.
Of his wedding?
Yes.
That makes sense then. He's talking about the wedding. I thought it was... Look, I've had a hard day. We don't need it making harder. He's talking about his anniversary to your mum, okay?
Right.
You need to let her know. I don't know if this would have been an important one this year, like 40th or 50th, it's hard to kind of date him, but he's making me feel they're all important, but this year is significant and it's either March or April. While we're talking about anniversaries, today is the 13th? Okay. 16th of March.
It's my birthday.
Okay, then he's celebrating that. It's important this year for you to know that he's with you. He's just like trying to get me to get these. He just speak at me. He doesn't know what to do. I need to acknowledge Laura or Lorna or...
That's my mum.
Okay.
Lorna.
Okay. Laura or
Lorna.
Lorna, okay. I thought it was Laura. Lorna. Can you tell her I love her? She knows it anyway. But I need her to know today how much I love her. She's not coping awfully well. Neither are you. Because it feels so fresh, feels so new.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's even been gone a year, but I feel that this year is particularly important. Okay, so we're either coming up to the first anniversary or just going into the second year?
This will be the third year.
The third, okay.
Yeah.
It feels so new to him. It feels like it was yesterday. It was the anniversary of my brother's passing yesterday, and I actually had to rewrite the post twice because I put 23 years and it hadn't. It was nearly 25.
Oh.
Time goes so quickly.
Yeah.
For your dad, when he looks at your mum, it feels like it was just yesterday. And that's how much he's struggling. I need to acknowledge when I talk to him that my head feels funny. I have a very uncomfortable head. It's not his head, but there is a male above him who I need to acknowledge is his dad, who also comes through with him. I don't know if he's a J also, but they're acknowledging because either they've got the same name or they share the same initial.
I've got the same name.
And then there has to be a John here also, like living. And who's Graham? Because he's acknowledging Graham.
My brother.
Okay, then he's acknowledging your brother. I don't know if your brother's middle name is something to do with dad's name or...
There's another J, but it's J is the name.
Just J? Because
Yeah.
he keeps giving me the J as if that's important.
Yeah, he's my brother's wee one.
Okay, then he's acknowledging him, okay. gonna get the whole family. Alright, and there's 2. So Granddad's here. I don't know if it was Granddad's head that was funny, which is why I was talking about that, because it's making me feel like my head is funny with my Granddad, okay? Do you have a dementia, a stroke, or that kind of an issue with his head? Your dad is very uncomfortable here. He feels like I can't breathe when I'm talking to him. He says he knew what he had, but it was quicker than anybody thought it would happen.
He had it for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, I don't know if it's like emphysema or a COPD thing in my lungs, but I feel that my lungs can't breathe properly. And towards the end, breathing has to have got more uncomfortable for him, because the last 2 weeks it was almost impossible for him to breathe.
Yeah.
Talk, speak, swallow, everything became very difficult, but he'd lived with it. He kind of knew what to do until it got too much for him. Your mum, okay, concentrate on what you're doing. He's going off in tangents. Your mum knew it was never a when, it was an if. Never an if, it was a when for your dad. It was always, especially in the last 18 months, it was almost like he had a date stamp on his backside and he knew he was going to run out of time. But nobody really spoke about it, nobody talked about it. Everybody just got on and we just lived the best that we could live. You gave him strength and courage when sometimes he lost that, and I need you to know how important that you were to him in the end. Not just the end, but the whole of the 18 months prior to leading up to that. You always can put a brave face on things, Jill, and it's just you. Everything's fine, everything's okay.
Yeah.
He knows it's not really the true you inside, and on the inside you're breaking. But the strength that you have shown your mum is incredible, and he needs to thank you for that. Without you, he doesn't know what he would have done. I need to acknowledge 2. He just keeps going cut, cut, cut all the time. So I've got 2 cuts. I've got a kicking cut and a little curly cut. There is a smaller, a girl, a daughter, his granddaughter, that I need to acknowledge for you. He's giving me the J, but now he's giving me one of the C's to her. And it has to be one of my favourite perfumes. One of my favourite perfumes is Chloe. And he's giving me the orange box for Chloe. So I don't know if that's your daughter's name, but that's what he's giving me, okay? What a unique way to give me something that he knows I would get. She could have been called Chanel, because that was my other favourite one. He needs to acknowledge her and how important she was to him. A very close bond.
Really?
Although she didn't get to spend a lot of time with him because he was taken from her. But the time that they did have together, the bond was unbelievable. He was her hero, and there was nothing that he couldn't do wrong, and he was an absolute stereotypical granddad. He did everything right that he could do. I don't know if you know that she can see him, or...
I think so, yeah. She does. She talks about him.
She's very clever, very gifted. She could sit here and do this. She is super talented, but sometimes has little issues with her little self. And her personality is amazing when she lets it out. And he keeps saying that she's going the right way to become a little superstar. And that's all down to you. You're peas in a pod, apparently. You look alike, you're identical. Her eyes are the windows to her soul. She just knows everything, and when he gazed her down in her eyes and she looked up at his eyes, it was true adoration, and no one can break that. He will look after her for the rest of his time. That's his #1 job, okay? Looking after you is slightly more difficult, but he can look after her. We've acknowledged Chloe, we've acknowledged the J, we've acknowledged your mum, we've acknowledged your brother Graham. There has to be another brother because there's 4 of you. 3 of you.
Just me and my brother.
I need you to acknowledge another one.
There's another J. It would be James, but...
Okay. Who is he to your dad?
My mum's dad. That would be my granddad.
No, this is somebody here living that I have to acknowledge another K sound. Like a kicking car. Who's Chris?
My brother's friend.
Okay. Is he close to the family?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. He's coming through almost as an acknowledgement as being attached to you in some way?
My mum always used to say it's another son from...
Then your dad is acknowledging him, okay? It made me feel there was 3 of you. Right. And it was 2 boys, 1 girl, and it was a cut sound that I need to acknowledge, okay?
Right, okay.
Then your dad is acknowledging that he's part of his family when he looks down, okay?
Okay.
I don't know if Chris is going through a hard time right now, but you need to tell him it'll be okay.
Right.
It's not spelt like with a proper cut, though. God, I'm phonetic here. Guitar got kids. It must be spelt with a K.
Yeah.
Because he's saying it's an unusual way to spell it. Okay?
Yeah, it's K.
Then your dad is just including him in this. Okay?
Right, okay.
That's really kind of you. Was there just one child for you or two?
One. For me?
Yes.
One.
Just the one. But there's 3 in total grandchildren. More?
2.
Then there's a third one coming. Your dad acknowledges 3.
Okay.
So 2 are here already?
Yeah.
There's another one due. Not now, but in the rest of the year.
Okay.
I don't know if we need to get you a man first. Or we need to find you someone. There's ones kicking around. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Your dad is making me feel there's someone on the outside of your life that you need to let in.
Okay.
Like in a love interest.
Right.
Who are you with now?
Married just now.
Married now, okay.
Yeah.
Then he doesn't feel like, for some reason, your dad is making me feel that he's not right in centre of your life right now for some reason.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's you maybe not pulling him forward.
Okay.
And maybe sometimes you just need to relax into things and it takes you a while to get settled. But it's almost as if you're here and he's here and the two of you, I feel, need to bond somehow.
Okay.
It's almost as if you've maybe lost something. You know, since Dad passed, maybe that you need to be more you, become the old you rather than the new you.
Okay.
Your dad loves him to bits, there's no kind of denying that, and I think your dad is a joker with me. But there is this huge thing about having another child or having another baby. I don't know if that's physically possible for you.
Right.
But when your dad is smiling at me, he's making me feel like it's coming your way. Because he's including 2 for you and not just 1.
Okay.
And he joked about having to find a man first. And I wasn't quite sure with his sense of humour whether he was getting at me or not. That's not nice. Get it back.
Okay.
Get back to being you.
Okay.
Get back to being the couple that you should be.
Okay.
It's not a big issue, but it's something he's afraid will start to separate if you don't. Get back to it. And maybe a baby, who knows, might you reunite that. Your dad's got that glint in his eye. Just for the record, it's the opposite to what you have already, so as soon as we have a little girl, then I need to acknowledge a boy, okay?
Okay.
Can you physically have a baby?
Mm-hmm.
Great. You're welcome. By Christmas, there's some good news. Connor's just drained from you completely. There's just 8 months yet to announce it, so that's a good thing. And you know what my reputation's like for baby announcements. It's like the kiss of death to some people. Oh no, she's mentioned it, that's me, done. Your dad would be 100% behind that one. Is there a dancing thing I'm supposed to be getting here? Who for? You?
Chloe.
Chloe. Dances?
Yes.
Okay. In competitions?
Yes.
On stage?
Yes.
Oh, your dad loves it.
Yes, he does.
Absolutely. I actually want to say he's embarrassing with it as to how much of a fan he really is. And if he could get there with the big posters with her name, he would. And he's clapping the loudest. And do you know on that telly there's that programme Tiaras and Tantrums, and he's one of the stage dads, like pushing her on, that's what he wants to do. She's brilliant at it, she just loves it. It's not like, it's fancy dancing though, I really truly don't know what fancy dancing means. It's not like ballet, I've not got her doing like the ballet, it's jiggering around and...
She does hip hop and...
Oh, that would be the one. Trying to get me to do it is another thing, but it's like waving your arms and legs around in a frenzy. And wobbling your belly around a lot. She's brilliant at it. He needs you to know that he's there every step of the way when she does that. And every time she does that, he thinks that she does it for him. Certainly behind her big bright smile, I think is your dad pushing her every step of the way. I need to acknowledge October or the 10th of a month has been important. either for a birthday or an anniversary. There is something distinctly significant about June and July. He can't kind of give me either one without giving me the other, so I need to get them both. He kept saying June, July, and I'm saying to him, well, which one? Both of them. So they're both significant to your dad, okay. I also feel I need to acknowledge November, but I don't know why. November is when 2 of my children were born, but there is a significance either about November. He wanted to point out November the 5th, which is bonfire night, so I don't know whether I'm supposed to get the 5th as a date, or the month of November, or the 11th of a month, but he needs to acknowledge that. When he does that, he's smiling at me, so who knows with your dad what that could mean. I think we need to watch this space for that time, okay? He's trying to show me the time. It's a timing thing I'm supposed to get here. Either 4 o'clock or something to 4 is important. He's going back to the time that he passed. And, oh, I was all cold. If he shows me a clock, it's at something to 4. Like 10 to 4, 20 to 4. Something to 4. It's okay. But he's showing me that. And to me, it's when something significant started to happen. He talks about the last 10 hours, or between the 10 and the 12 hours prior to him going.
Okay.
As being like a mile marker for him as to when things started to go downhill quite quickly.
Okay.
I don't know if until then he'd been okay-ish, but halfway through that day, or halfway between the 10 and the 12 hours, he knew he wouldn't pull through. He knew he wouldn't make it. It was all a bit of a blur for everybody, because it seemed to happen relatively quickly. Even though we knew, it still didn't really prepare you for the way that it happened. Your dad feels that he just gave up in the end. He just was tired, Jill. His heart got too tired, his body just said, I've had enough. Yeah. And he thinks all those years of trying to fight it probably took 10 years off his life. He keeps saying he's sorry. I'm sorry for going so quickly. I didn't mean to. It was just one of those things. It happened. I didn't get the time that day or the opportunity to say how much I loved all of you. It was just very difficult with everybody making a fuss and it all kind of just happening the way it did. And he fell into a sleep and then he literally never came round. He didn't feel anything. And from that point on he knew. Now his father must have passed before him because he's saying that John Mark II was there to take him across. And I guess for your dad he knew then that that was time, there was no coming back. There is a significance to candles being lit or somebody lighting a candle for him. I don't know if this is lit like every Christmas or on his birthday or anniversary, but it's very important that I acknowledge that.
My mum lights candles every night.
For your dad? It's almost like a little shrine of...
She's got them all the way around her house.
He loves it. And you need to tell her to keep doing it, even though I'm sure it's a fire risk, but... That's your dad just being health and safety conscious. It's almost when she lights it that she says, this is for you. And I'm kissing the photograph with my 2 hands every night before I go to bed. And that's your mum kissing him. I need to acknowledge a chair that's under or near a light in the living room. It's his chair. And he still sits in it every night. And woe betide anybody that sits in it instead of him. You need to tell your mum. He's still there every night. I don't know if she used to turn the telly up loud or this is just something that she started to do. But it feels too loud. Or he liked it loud. Something about the television control and the volume. Does your mum actually know what the television remote control does? Or has there been a funny story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my gran, she doesn't know how to use the remote control.
Has she ever picked it up thinking it was a telephone or something? Because your dad's laughing about it, saying, my God.
Probably.
Does she actually know what it does?
No, she doesn't. That's all.
And he's having such a laugh about, like, turn it down. I'm like... And
really loud.
And it's really loud. Well, he obviously pays her visits too. And is acknowledging that it's so funny with the whole control thing. I could just see my mum actually did it. I went to my friend's house and she said, Trevor's on the phone. She went to get the phone and she picked it up and she's saying, hello, hello. And we all walked in the room and I said, what the hell are you doing? trying to get you further and he's not, and it was the sky control. She thought it was the phone.
She doesn't know how to use it at all.
She doesn't, and your dad thinks that's funny, so long may that continue. It makes him giggle anyway.
Yeah.
And this is John's wife, who's your dad's dad. No, this is your other gran. Okay, then her husband's passed also. Then I need to bring him through. He keeps saying it's such a shame to see her like that, but he knows that she's okay. She's always been the same.
Yeah.
She talks to him all the time, but she just talks to herself. So he's hoping it's her. He's hoping that she's talking to him. I'm looking out for her. You don't need to worry. Okay. She does do some really silly things. I don't know if she's got this thing with her teeth. Did somebody lose their teeth? Did you know, this is really weird, one of your granddads, when they passed, I'm not sure that they had their teeth in.
Alright, it could have been my dad's dad, because I think he had false teeth.
He's convinced that they're not his teeth that he's got in. I'm sure they are, but it's almost like they needed to find them, and he thinks the hospital just gave a set that they found.
Okay.
No, but it is his. He's so convinced that they're not the right ones. That's a method for us all. Super glue our teeth in case we've got false ones when we go to hospital. He's just talking about their teeth. There's something funny with your grandma and her teeth, because he's just making me laugh about the things that she does before she goes to bed. I hope she puts the cat out and they haven't even got one. He just thinks she's funny. And your dad and him take the mickey out of her all the time. That is really cruel.
That's cruel.
But that's what your dad does. That's what he likes to do. He likes to make lights flicker, go on and off. He likes to alter the television entirely by himself and not anything to do with your grandma. Your dad likes to let you know that he's here. I think sometimes the signs that you always think of him, he just needs to know, are him. Yeah. And you need to be assured of that. Your dad is noisy. He will let you know he's in the house. John is in the house. And there'll be classes and bangs and doorbells going off and knocks at the door and heaven knows what. That's me, that's what I do. And I enjoy doing that. Can you tell Graham I'm proud of him? I don't know that your dad ever managed to tell him that during his life, but it's very important that he knows it now. Okay. It's not that he's done anything special to be proud of right now, but I just think your dad thinks it might help him. Okay. Just to say, okay, he's always been proud of you. You've always given him something to be proud of. And that's never going to stop, ever. You are heading to bright new shiny places apparently. Especially within work, and your dad is really encouraging you to do that, to leap forward. Take a step out of your comfort zone, Jill. Okay. You sometimes keep within your comfort zone because you feel that that's where you feel you're most comfortable. Okay. Sometimes when you're vulnerable and your back's against the wall, you come out shouting, and that's when you do your best work. This next year is you going to come out battling the world, and your dad's going to say, that's my girl, I made her do that. For your dad, at the end of the day, he keeps saying that you are a lot like him, and you just like to be needed and like to be loved and know that you're doing everything for everybody, but sometimes you can't do it on the scale that you do it and please everybody at the same time. So maybe towards the end of this year you need to cut back on that a little bit. I think especially to do with Chloe and her dancing, and maybe she needs you more, and if we have another baby really, then maybe we need to cut some of it back so that we can concentrate on a smaller group of people. Is there anything you'd like to ask?
No.
No? Okay,
no.
I'm going to leave you with his love. Thank you.
I was very pleased with it. I loved it. She got everything to a T.
And did you hear the kind of information you were hoping to hear?
I did. I was hoping when it was coming through about my dad, and that's what she said. I thought, okay, felt relaxed when she told me. Great feeling.
I don't know if you called her Nana or Grandma, but I need to bring her through. She's very uncomfortable here in her upper chest, making me feel like I can't breathe. It's okay, I'm sorry. It's such a big issue for you that you didn't get there in time. I don't know that you just left, or there wasn't a very long period of time. and she knew that she had to go before you came back. I don't know if you know how much energy you gave her in the last couple of months. You made her feel that she could go on a little bit longer. She keeps saying that you bought her some extra time. Not a lot of time, but just enough. She was ready to go. She didn't feel that she could go any further. I know for those of us left behind, it's never the right time. There is an older female who's coming through as a grandma figure to me. She needs to acknowledge, and I did say outside that I felt that two were attached, and I really didn't know what I meant by that, but she's acknowledging that you have twins.
Yeah.
It feels to me when I'm talking to her, my head feels funny. I don't know if I need to acknowledge somebody with dementia.
Dementia, she had dementia.
She keeps acknowledging that she passed before she passed, and as the dementia took hold of her and almost became uncontrollable in the end, you, above anybody, had the most amount of patience with her, but you sat with her and you talked and you made her feel special. But she also needs you to know that her hearing never went, and she could hear everything that you said. You gave her the courage to pass. You gave her the confidence. She keeps saying you told her it was okay. You gave her permission. She needed that. She needed to know that you'd be okay.